Rage quit? Never. Dad quit? Not an option. Welcome to Nerd Rage. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Nerd Rage. Just checking in with you. Wanted to give you my opinions. Been playing the game, been playing a lot, actually. Between that and real life, haven't had time to put out a video, so I decided I would give you my thoughts. 449. So what? I'm gonna break you down the grind, how it was pre-solstice, from the beginning, solstice, and even after solstice. What is it now, and how is it like? Let me get here into Caldera while we're doing this whole thing. Get my selections. Super fun, caltrops and shielding, whatever, glass cannon. Doesn't really matter. Probably should technically do this less, but man, whatever. All right, pre-solstice. The grind sucked. Like I said, I started off like everybody else, level 10, did the legendary campaign, did it multiple times. Once on each character. That got me above 200. And then I started the power grind from 200 to 400. Honestly, it felt really shallow. We didn't really know the optimal way to go about it. We didn't really have a blueprint. Nobody had done this before. This is a brand new system. And unfortunately, Bungie decided to cut a majority of their content for some reason. What we had previously in the world as solo content, as things to do, those are all gone now, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I'm still trying to figure it out. Why they decided to cut, I would say, a good 80% of their content from people to do, both solo and activities to do in a party, whether it be 3-man for dungeons or, you know, raid content. Like, they basically made everything not worth your time, which confuses me. I don't get it. So anyway, I grinded like everybody else. I went through and did the same activities, this one being one of them, over and over again, just so I could grind and get higher level. What kept me going was the thought that in the end game, it would be worth it. I would get my reward. I would make it so that when I hit 450, I would be rewarded. I would get all of the awesome drops. Turns out, based on what other people are saying, that's not actually true. I'm at, I'm 449, but if I was 450 and I was doing this particular activity, the same thing that I get rewarded with now is what I would get rewarded with at 450. Meaning, any of the gear that drops is going to be tier 4 for me. It's not going to be tier 5. And all of the pinnacles that drop are random at best. I don't get to choose. So if I'm looking for even an armor piece, let's say, looking for an armor piece that drops, I have no control over that. Even if it is a guaranteed or feature drop, if you will, of the system, I'm not guaranteed anything. It could drop, it could not drop. And even if it does drop, I have no guarantees that is going to be a pinnacle drop, which means it's going to be tier 4, and I'm not going to be able to use it because I want tier 5 loot. I want to be able to, if I'm taking the time to grind my way to tier 5, or 440, 449, 450, I want to be rewarded with getting the tier 5 loot. And because this system was half-baked, we don't get that. And it especially feels bad after Solstice. You know, with Solstice, we were spoiled. And I wonder if it was a knee-jerk reaction by Bungie because they saw a lot of people really hate the grind. Like, it wasn't fun. They, again, very, very shallow. Doesn't really have anything for you to do. So let's talk about the Solstice event. That was actually surprisingly fun. I enjoyed the Solstice event. Why did I enjoy the Solstice event? Especially after I just told you that it was very shallow as far as the activities are concerned. Hello? Evidently that can't reach that far. It was simply because the rewards. I was willing to put in the time because I saw, hey, these reward, I'm actually getting rewarded for doing activities. I'm getting at least one, if not multiple, tier 5 rewards. Cool. I need tier 5 loot. I need to get my, you know, all of my gear up. So sure, I'll do it. And so that's why I continue to grind. That's why I continue to go through and do said thing. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people that weren't 400 through Solstice, so the grind from 400 to 440 or 450 with the Solstice event was so good for those people. It will never be that good ever again for anybody else for that grind. Now, once it goes to 500, it's kind of a mute point, but because it gave us the tier 5 loot, as well as, I don't think people understood that when you went and grabbed your gear, and this is for each character, and you turned in the quest, each one of these became a pinnacle drop. And so that's where a lot of people saw that and went, oh my gosh, I can go through and yeah, sure, I'm getting the weapons, and those are amazing and those are great. But each gear piece is a pinnacle drop, so I don't have to wait. I can specifically go after and those smart ones. I was kind of smart, went through and was like, okay, I'm going to do it on this character. I'm going to, you know, grab a couple, then I'm going to kind of level it out with events, and I'm going to grab a couple more. And you did that because you were able to consistently get those pinnacle drops super quickly, and it was awesome. If you were under that 400 cap, it didn't really seem like it was cool and it was a buff and you kind of got some gear and that was kind of nice, but like you didn't notice the effect as much, if that makes sense. Like, because you were still getting upgrades as you were going about your grind, it wasn't as impactful. Whereas the 400 to 450, you were no longer getting the gear on a consistent basis. You were relying on those pinnacle drops to drop for you, and it sucks. And so when Solstice came around and it started dropping gear, everybody was like, oh my gosh, I like this. This is fun. And so then they kind of ignored a lot of the other bad things about it, me included, because it was fun. Here we are after Solstice. It is now going back to the horrible grind. And I'm at a point where I'm literally looking for one drop. One specific drop. A 450 pinnacle in the heavy slot. That's all I'm looking for. And then I'm 450. That's it. There's, you know, and then once I get that 450, if I decide that I want to, I guess I can go through. If I decide I want to go through and do some PvP, that'll be rewarding because every drop I get from that will then be a tier 5, which is cool. I assume they're going to take that away when Ash and Iron drops, and make it so that until you're 500, it won't do that. But until then, like, it's not worth it. So what's my advice for those of you that are still grinding? First of all, please enjoy the grind, take your time. Know that even if you are in the 200s, you do not have to grind anything super fast. There's no, like, don't worry about it. If this is your one game that you like to play and you're like, man, I feel so behind, don't just play. In a couple weeks, Ash and Iron will come out. We'll get some of that. We'll see where that goes, and what the activity is going to be as far as rewarding for us. Hopefully it's rewarding. For those of you that are above 400 and are wondering, should I grind to 450? No. In fact, if you are above 400, I would honestly say take this time to do something else. For a couple of reasons. One, it allows you, by taking time away, to actually enjoy the game. Oh my goodness. When it comes back, when Ash and I... Seriously? Thank you. Wow. Anyway, can't even throw things at all. It allows it so that you're going to enjoy the game. When Ash and Iron comes out, you're not going to be burnt out. You're going to have fun because you haven't been playing it for a while. And so I think that is the better move, honestly. I don't know if any of you play Final Fantasy, but Yoshi P says the same thing to those who grind the end game and are kind of getting a little burnt out, a little stir crazy, a little, this isn't fun anymore. He says, go play something else. Go do something else. Get your mind off of this because it's not fun. Come back later when it's fun. And so that's my advice to you guys. Come back later. After the the update comes and the grind to 500 is going to be the same as it was to 400. Make that the new thing that you do. For Bungie, what the absolute... I wish I had Cross's editor. What the heck were you thinking? Are you kidding me right now? You cannot seriously come in and tell me that you thought that this was a good idea to put a half-assed, put-together product. People paid for this. They want to enjoy this. Yeah, they're gamers. They're going to grind the heck out of it. You know that. You're a gaming company. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, why on earth would you go through the process of making something that's supposed to be your new way of getting people to play the game, and you literally take away 80% of the content that already exists in the game? Whose bright idea was that? They need to be fired. Because that's just asinine. You've got all of these locations. For a solo player, I can go, and if I want to, I can go to this event here. Or I can go to this lost sector over here. I can go to all of these different things and do this in the prior update before this latest expansion. And I could go play. I could do that from any one of them. As a new player, so much content to do. And you single-handedly took away all of these things. And that's just for the solo player. Then we've got all of these strikes that you decided to not add to the portal. You just didn't add them. Like, you have random things. Like, I see where your head's at. You're starting to add different activities that you had in prior leagues or whatever it is that you want to call them. Great. That's awesome. The problem is that, like, even this is not rewarding. Add more. Get some more stuff in there. Like, the Pinnacle thing is just absolutely pathetic. You didn't even add all of the stuff for all the various different exotics that are out there. That's a layup. Like, you didn't change anything in these, really. But you selected just those, and then the gear you just made into the new gear. You couldn't even go through the effect of getting all of the other missions that we have for exotics and add those to this. Crucible is just, it's a joke at this point. Like, nobody plays this game for PvP anyway. Let's be honest. There should be more here. And I say this to you as somebody who's a little bit pissed off, a little frustrated, because I enjoy the game. I like the game. I love the game. Trust me, if I didn't care, I wouldn't say shit. And that goes with a lot of other people. But why on earth are you coming out with a TWID to literally nerf what very shallow content you have, instead of taking that precious development time and actually adding more content that you already have in the game? You don't have to make new stuff. You just have to take the stuff that currently exists in the world. K1 Revelation. K1 Crew Quarters. This is just the moon. Logistics you have. But why not add the others? You've already got a system there. Just add them. Give us a ridiculous amount. There should be all of them. There should be way more content than anybody could ever look at. And sure, we might go and end up doing the same thing that ended up happening, which was optimize the crap out of it, make it so that it's not fun. But at that point, after everything has already been added to the game, that's when you go and you start optimizing things. That's when you start going, oh, you know what? This one particular lost sector is doing much better than everything else. We should probably start tweaking some things. But you've got everything else to play with. Right now, you're spending so much dev time nerfing the small things that you have. People are going, what the heck are you doing? You're already ruining my fun. Why? That doesn't make sense to me. And it doesn't seem like you're putting enough effort and energy to actually make a difference on that. You're wanting to nerf because somebody is making 450 faster than you wanted them to. Which means somebody could be making 550 before you want them to. Because let's be honest, you don't have an end game either. Because you took all of the dungeons and you took all of the raids and you threw all the loot out the window and you made it worthless. All of that loot is absolutely worthless. Why? Why would you do that? I understand. It might take some development time, similar to what you did with all of the lost sectors and making a gear set for dungeons. And so that all of the dungeons have the same gear set but different weapons. Sure, that might take some development time, but get your ass on that. Because seriously, like, you want to talk about selling some things? As a new player, why would you buy anything else other than the latest expansion? There's lost revenue right there. We're talking about Sony and wanting money and getting new people in the game. I mean, the whole whatever monetization for the prior content and how you got that, like, that's a mess anyway. But the fact that there's really no reason to ever buy that at this point at all. If a new player comes and asks me, what should I buy? Well, if you're going to buy anything, buy the latest expansion. If you plan on raiding and you enjoy the story. If you don't plan on raiding and you don't really care about the story, don't even buy anything. Play it free to play. Because all of the stuff that's prior there, you get a majority of it, but it's all worthless anyway. So even if you bought it, it would be worthless. How on God's green earth did somebody in higher management of Bungie or Sony decide that that was a good idea? It's ridiculous. Before, I'm going to go a little bit in another video, not the tower. I'm going to go in another video in this whole section of the portal and customizing. So I'll save that to there. But come on, guys, get creative. Really? Really? We're just going to have these options. Nobody likes that, first of all. And that is a defact just select because it's so freaking good. You obviously acknowledged it in your TWID, and you're going to nerf that. Give us more options. Why nerf that? Why not come up with other things? Like, it's either on or off. Again, either on or off. You're not being creative. I'm talking, why don't you add something that says you don't get a super? Make that something here. Or you don't get grenade, or you don't get melee, or you don't get a heavy weapon, or an energy weapon, or a kinetic. Like, that's not even being creative. That's just taking what we normally play with and just removing it. But at least it's another option to select to make it more difficult. You've been lazy. What I'd love to see more actual modifiers to the enemies that we fight. It's been the same thing. This isn't anything new. These were things that already existed in the game. I understand it. You don't even want to give us, like, the enemies have been the same. That's been stale. You've done bare minimum as far as adding different types of enemies. You combined a couple of things, gave us some enemies with some strand, or gave us some enemies with other abilities, like the bare minimum. I want some exciting stuff. I want some stuff that's fun. I was excited when you guys came out with some of the other activities prior to, what was it? Fire Team. When he came out with Onslaught, that was a good event. That was fun. That was rewarding. That was new. You used some of the same areas and same mobs that you had, but the way that you did the event made it so that it was new enough and it was fun enough, and the rewards were awesome. We grinded the crap out of that. We had a lot of fun. And now, the best event for people to do isn't worth their time. The rewards are complete trash. Nobody does it because you half-baked this entire thing. So I'm going to cut this one off. Or if we're on wishes, my last wish that I still wish you guys would do an endless dungeon. Back in when the Destiny 2 first came out and you guys did a Halloween event and you had that Vex thing where it would randomly change different sections of your dungeon and give you different enemies and different bosses and all that kind of stuff. Like, we have AI now. Take advantage of that. Have it randomize all of your things, the layout, the mobs, the modifiers, like, let it go ham. And make it endless. Keep going until you die. That would be fun. I guarantee you, if you put that on the end game and you made the rewards worthwhile, people would grind for weeks, banging their heads up against the wall because they want that reward. Get that carrot on a stick. You'll get those numbers, but make it fun. Make it depth. Give us depth. Give us at least the stuff that we've had. So, is 450 worth it? No, not really. It's not. Bungie promises some changes in September. The grind to 500. I'm looking at it now thinking, okay, if I get tier 5 at 500, and that's guaranteed, and it's Ludapalooza, why even go for 550? There's no reason to grind for that at that point, really. You're going to get all the gear that you want, but at least it'll be rewarding, unlike the 450 current state that we're in right now. You do your event and you're not getting tier 5, so why? Yeah, fingers crossed. Till next time. Thanks, gamers.